Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Moana Nui podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying the content that we have been bringing you all so far. Tonight, I am joined by a very special guest, a friend and somewhat of a mentor because he is such a Kickstarter guru, Sebastian Jones. Sebastian is the president and CEO of Comics, and he has some wonderful projects up his sleeve. He's done a lot of work in the comics medium. One of my favorite characters and stories is Niobe. The art that I saw at his booth, I believe it was at either Baltimore or New York Comic Con, definitely caught my eye. And you know, he definitely has his story down. He knows how to grab your attention. And so I hope, I'm confident tonight that he will grab your attention as we bring him on. So without further ado, let's do that. Hi, Sebastian.
Hey, thanks for having me on. How are you, darling?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Taking another easy day off, just cruising through life.
Yes. Yes. So are you having to work from home, or are you?
Yeah. Everything. I feel like my living room, is just literally like a mini non-stop comic convention. I've got, comics and boxes and tables with sheets of Stranger Comics written all over it. It's just, it's chaos in here. It's chaos, but here we are, happy to be here,
Absolutely. We're all navigating this chaos together.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to have you on. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There's a couple things that we want to talk about. I guess we'll start off with Ruining Christmas, which is your most recent project that is live on Kickstarter now. And this particular project is a little different than what you normally do. So tell us, like, what inspired it? How did you come up with the idea?
Okay, it's still a story about elves. So we just wanted to keep, always stories about elves, just different kinds of elves. I think, so my co-creator on Ruining Christmas, Daryl, and I probably have very different memories on how we came up with this. But I seem to think, like, from what I remember, we were sitting outside like a Starbucks, and I was probably feeling very British at the time. We were like, look at these entitled people, all like, I'm so pleased with myself. And it really grated against me. And, there's all these thoughts of how entitled folks have become. And in this, or especially kids are entitled, parents have apathy. We're in this strange kind of time where you either, or a wonderful combination of that, celebrating pettiness and passive aggressiveness and all that kind of nonsense with, I'm so self-righteous. So anyway, and the lead characters were modeled after our two best friends that both had passed away, these bigger than life personalities. And we kind of, there's a lot of Daryl's brainchild, so he gets a lot of the love and credit on this. But we kind of hit this age where we felt like the spirit of giving was taking it. And if Santa is a saint, someone that we worship, if we worship a saint or a god or an angel, we give them power. And if we've essentially given up on Santa, given up on the spirit of giving, he's essentially given up on us. And so with that, how do you solve that? So we had this concept of cheer gas. Okay, these naughty list coordinators, these Christmas elves, every year they go around, they mace kids in the face with cheer gas to kind of power up the faux love meter, to get Santa out of bed just enough to go around out of it, and he's become a bit of a waster, to go and drop the presents off. But now the cheer gas is running out. And the quick pitch is, ruining Christmas is Christmas is in the toilet. And these two idiot Christmas elves get the shit beaten out of them by the rottenest kid in all the land. And they lose Santa's hat, the source of all Christmas magic. And they have to go on a buddy mission with the help of the Red Rogue, this famous elven superhero, to get it back. Because what we had done is we had done a preview book with Eli's artist, amazing artist, Eli Hicks. Look out for him. We're going to be working with him on a lot more stuff. And we'd done this preview comic with him about the last kid that got a lump of coal. And this was in Austria in 1896, and he goes down and reaches into the stocking, pulls out a lump of coal, sniff, sniff, and there it is. He drops the coal with a little smudge mark on his nose. So we have Hitler. Hitler was the last bloke to get a lump of coal, and FDR goes to Santa, FDR and Churchill, and they go, "You got to knock that shit off." So we enter the nuclear age, and Santa has his elves create cheer gas as this quick fix, make you ding, make you happy, to power up the love meter. So it's a very big universe we've been developing for 10 years. It's very wacky, very irreverent. And we wrote it, I gave it the voice of kind of like a very Guy Ritchie movie. Okay. So it's like, he's a fucking snowflake. I wouldn't trust him to shovel reindeer shit. Excuse my language. Let me know if I shouldn't be. It says it right. Explicit content. It says it right next to your symbol. And so you know, in the sense of, you know, the Family Guy and South Park and all these, you know, Archer, these very irreverent kind of cartoons, animated series, whatever you want to call it. We wanted to do the same, but really present it with a British accent and get a little daring with it. So really that literally and reflects social commentary and all those types of things is one thing, without getting too deep into that, because that can almost then distract. I think people like the quick, low-hanging fruit distraction. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather us focus on the culture of identity and us as people and our lack of ability to listen to others. And we all look very myopically and introspectively, and that does breed entitlement and righteousness, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And but I bring folks in with the irreverence craziness, and hopefully plant a seed, and so that there should be layers, hopefully, within the story of absurdity, you know.
Yeah, I love the way you did that, because you know, I feel like now, you know, you touched on it a little bit, like there's a lot of division across the country. And, you know, this holiday season is usually one where we were able to get, you know, some happiness and you know, some family time. And it's a little difficult now because, well, you know, with COVID, and it's, you know, we're being discouraged from the gatherings and, you know, all of those things. So I really like that you brought some levity, you know, with this project, and it was from a humorous aspect, like you still deal with issues, but in a very light way, kind of tongue-in-cheek, you know, making fun of yourself, making fun of, you know, the differences, but in a fun way. So yeah,
I think so. I think that's kind of this is the moment that we're in, right? Is we, you know, it is funny because I'm the Niobe guy. You know, so there's a, you know, like I was saying to a friend the other day, you know, like I like sex and sandwiches. You know, you're a three-dimensional person. You can be, you know, you have your very spiritual journey. You have your awakening. You have these types of things too. But I think there are moments when if you can't laugh at yourself and you take yourself so seriously, it's a very dangerous place to be. That at what point, you know, the vein's going to pop on your forehead. You need to be able, and this year especially, I think we need to be able to just laugh at the absurdity of 2020 and how many knocks that we've all taken in our own respective ways, and then also have a little bit of empathy for the folks that might have it far worse than you do. and just, yeah, take a step back,
Yeah.
breathe, have a bit of a giggle, and then see the reality. I think try and have some empathy and see it really is about giving. I mean, in the Christmas, and the irony is we've always talked about this project for a long time at the company, and it really is that spirit of giving. It doesn't matter. Can you give some of yourself to your friend, your neighbor, your enemy, whatever that is? Can you just that? So Christmas has always been the perfect kind of holiday to ruin, I guess.
Right. Yeah, giving is a very special thing, especially now when so many folks are struggling. I actually had this conversation with my coworker the other day, like
Mm.
because it's been reduced schedule at work, there's not as many people there. So the folks who are there are kind of like under a lot of stress because
Right.
we have to carry the load for everybody who's not there. But then at the same time, I have to step back and be like, I still have a job. Like I still have the check.
Mm.
I have a roof over my head. I still, I can still provide for my family. Um, so it's kind of like this balance, like of trying to handle the stress and pressures that we're all feeling right now because it's a very different time. But then really, like you said, being empathetic and understanding that, like, regardless of all that, I'm still in a very good position and I have really no complaints at all. So I love that, you talked about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, for us, as a comic company, as an indie company, the vast majority of our income is conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our full-time job, me and the guys. And so when conventions was obviously no conventions this year, and also printing, things to deliver on. It was just such a big thing to pivot, our company into the realities of 2020, and also take a bit of a gamble with ruining Christmas. Like I do have a couple of people reached out and said, "Does that mean you're not doing Niobe anymore?" Like, no, of course we're a publishing company. I just wanted to finally put this project out, and and then also tackle how, because I wrote this first draft a long time ago. The humor in the comedy, how dated is it, and how sensitive we are now, and how to try and reach folks in a way that's mildly offensive, but not super. I don't know, just in a way that's everyone's just so very knee jerk right now, and headline grabbing, and also I think clout chasing for, I don't like this person if they said this. Oh, I just got 5 likes on that. Okay, I'm validated. I'm just too old for that shit. So.
I am right there with you. Yeah, I see a lot of creators too that are kind of like they're doing great things, and but someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone made a comment like, but I still feel like there's 1 or 2 people who are like coming at me in a negative way, and I'm just like, well, anybody who's of value is not going to be treating you in that way, because anybody who understands the hustle will appreciate your success and will encourage and cheer on your success. The ones who like have that negative, toxic attitude are like, people who probably aren't really doing much and are just trying to find ways to pass their time in a non-healthy way.
I think you're right. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, there are people that are nice and there are people that are dickheads. I mean, it's just and the manifestation of insecurity during a time where the pressures are even more severe, and I think too, look, we always put our best face on a little bit, unless we're having a moan on social media, so that it does create a false narrative which does breed jealousy or insecurity with some folks that, well, he must be doing great, blah blah blah, and no one really knows. I think we don't. we don't know the real truth and vulnerabilities of what someone is going through. But yeah, I might have experienced it a little bit here and there. Uh, but you know, I think James Brown said it best: "Is I've got mine, don't worry about his." So I've always kind of had this mentality: if I make $100 and my friend makes 10 or $1,000, I still make $100.
Right.
I surely, as a friend, would want my friend to make 1,000 because I love my friend. I want to succeed. I'm still making 100. Why difference does it make to me? So all I can do is, be happy for someone that is doing well. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's why I love the indie community too, because
yeah,
I feel like there are times, everybody has their ups and downs, right? And
yeah.
it's having that camaraderie, having that group of people, that safety net that you can fall back on. Like, hey guys, I'm working on this project. I'm feeling like this. This is the challenge that
Mm,
I'm having. Talk me
yeah.
off the edge, right? Essentially.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It is amazing. There's so many good chaps and ladies to acknowledge. Dorfis, LaShawn, Dedran, David Crownson, Jason Reeves, um, you know, David Walker. There's just been some really amazing folks, and then also folks that just sorry if I'm Milton Davis. There's just so many people that just have been absolutely wonderful, wonderfully supportive of everything that I do, and all I can do, always try and reciprocate the love right back. I'm sure there's just some people that just jump to mind. I'm spacing, but I mean, I'm always just incredibly in awe and incredibly thankful for Quinn McGowan and Hannibal Taboo, how hard these folks hustle, and TJ Sterling, Johnny Quattry. It's just folks that literally you want them to win so much, because not only are their projects really dope and their ideas are just unique and beautiful and special, and Roya Coupe, like they're just great people. And how much time as a creator you're sacrificing away from your family. And when people ask me what's the hardest thing, and I say is time spent away from my family. That's really difficult on me. So I better make sure that I honor the time that I'm spending away by making the best stuff I can, because it's doing them a disservice if I'm not, right? But even more so, it's more difficult for them because I'm following my dream and they are honoring that. So I always think of fellow indie creators that you can see them pour their heart and soul into their projects, and I just want them to win so much.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned a lot of creators that I absolutely love and adore too, and some have come on the podcast, and some others is definitely on my long list of folks. But I want to stay on the theme of family. So one of the things that another project that you do that I kind of forgot, but I have the book because I got it, is that you also write books. So you have a story called "I Am Mixed." Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah. We've got three kids books in the I Am book series. We have I Am Mixed, I Am Awesome, and I Am Living in Two Homes. And I Am Mixed, we actually were going to come out with I'm Living in Two Homes first, being so many people deal with separation and divorce, or just living, having kids out of wedlock, whatever the case may be. And it's such a taboo subject that people struggle talking about. So, but we thought, okay, that'll be, if we come out with that first, the rest of the ones are going to get buried. So we came out with I Am Mixed first. And what we discovered was I Am Mixed is a celebration of all cultures. And me being a mixed person, it was like, oh, okay, how triggering is that word? Is it, a lot of times grandparents go, I don't like that word. My dog is mixed, or I mix paint,
Right.
and so that can be a triggering word. And you should have called it multiracial. You should have done this. You should have done that. And for me, I kind of like the term. I think it's fun and quick, and so on. And also, of course, mixed didn't necessarily just mean black and white. It could be a mix of culture, that maybe someone's Italian and Jewish, or someone is Asian and Mexican, et cetera, right? And our lead characters happen to be biracially black and white because my co-writer had kids, and she, Garcelle Beauvais is this actress who most folks know her from the Jamie Foxx show. She's currently on The Real, and she wanted the book to reflect her kids. And we went back and forth of, well, maybe it should be more subliminal. One's this thing, and one's that, so on. But in hindsight, I think she was right, and it created a vision of these kids that you could kind of have your child identify with and through. And the book became, and also because you understand too, and you see that, it can be very triggering too for black folks, like, what's this mixed shit? There's just black kids, and then and so that was super sensitive, and had many conversations, and also, when you do a book like that and you're kind of one of the first, there was another book out called Mixed Me, which Tay Diggs then used the same name.
Right.
Anyway, our Mixed book was the first one, I think, that was nationally distributed in that subject. And so then I would get like the odd death threat, from white supremacy type people, So it was a very polarizing thing, and I think people are online. They're very brave, right? They talk a lot of shit online, fine. But the book did very, and let's be honest. Everyone has a very up their own arse opinion on race. They're like, I've got this shit figured out. Oh, let me tell you exactly what you're doing wrong. This is me. I've got it all figured out. I'm going to tell my kids and teach my kids whatever, no matter what. And I'm always like, bet you do. Shit, well, tell me the secret formula, because I don't have any, like tea, but everyone likes to talk about it. And it is that sensitive thing. And you get it because this country is so rooted in racism that you understand, and blood and murder and and so on, that it's ingrained in the soil and the DNA of people and a people, and ancestors speak through and so on. So so you understand how raw and sensitive that book can affect folks. So that was the first one, I Am Mixed. But when people pick up the book and they read through it and go, oh, we're trying to create the ties, we try and create what makes each person unique within themselves, but also want to experience and enjoy, and we have the beauty and enjoyment to experience another culture and go, whoa, that's amazing, as opposed to, you're this and I'm that, let me create division and fear. Whoa, I think we forget how in America, how easy we have it. Like, just in the simplicity of, I'm going to order Chinese food. I'm going to, listen to this song. I'm going to wear this type of clothing. So-and-so invented that, all these various things that we are allowed, that we have the opportunity to enjoy, right? So I could go down the rabbit hole with that one, but that was I Am Mixed. Then we had I Am Living in Two Homes. which is ironic because everyone deals with that. You know someone or you've experienced it, a kid or a parent separating, right?
Yeah.
But no one has it's the most difficult conversation to have, as opposed to the, oh, this is my views on race. No one's like, oh, this is my view on divorce. When it comes to race, it's like, well, let me tell you my experience. I'm probably the same way. Let me tell you my experiences, and this is what molded me. And because it molded me, I know the truth. Blah blah blah. Let me tell you. No one's like, oh, I'm going through a divorce right now, and this is my opinion on, how this, that, and the other happens, and oh, I was a product of divorce. La 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 la. No one talks about it. It's like people sneak into the bookshop to get it, like, oh, I'm going through a divorce right now, and this book might help, and so that actually didn't do as blinding numbers, although people that pick it up are very, very, and they send me wonderful messages. Spoke to a retail friend of mine recently, and he's like, this book was really helped me. And what we learned doing our research was kids want to talk. When you're very young, you have this like, Mom, look at me, I'm doing this. Look at me, Mom, I'm doing this, Mom. So when parents separate, because their world is so selfish as a child, or myopic, it's an assumption that it's because of them, right? Mom, look at me. Oh, is it because of me? And then you have to reinforce that it's not, and then get specifics, because kids don't like to deal with general. So we had to give like specifics in that. And the last book is a bit more universal. It's called I Am Awesome, which was a celebration of self, how to be brave, how to not give up, how to be a good friend. We touch a little bit on adoption, a little bit on bullying, a few key issues, but to really what it is just to be a good friend, and repeat the mantra, I am awesome. So those are kind of our first 3 I Am book series, kids books. And stop me if I'm rambling, by the way. I like to be a tangent dude.
No, you're not rambling at all. I totally enjoyed learning more about the 3, because I only had the 1.
Okay.
But I definitely want to grab the other 2 now for my niece and nephew, because I think they seem to love the books that I send, and they're all indie creators, right? Like all in Kickstarter. Like those are the projects that I support, and it's just love it because you can't get it anywhere else. It's not a mainstream thing. Some people look at that negatively, but I don't. I think it's unique. And it's targeted towards the people who need it. So
perfect. I'm gonna send you some information to another author I highly recommend as well. You should be amazing to have on your show. Yeah.
Children's authors, I love it. I'm all about the kids. I don't have any kids of my own, so I try to bring some content for them too, especially because they're so they're just like enamored by the things that Auntie does, and I'm trying to be a good example for them, and give them the right messaging so that they know that they're awesome, and all those things that you're talking about in your book. So
sure. But don't give them the Ruining Christmas book.
No, that's for Mom and Dad. So can we talk a little bit about Niobe and the land of Sunda, and just like what inspired it? I mean, I can see clear inspirations, like it's definitely fantasy genre, a lot of Lord of the Rings influence, I could see. So can we talk about that a little bit? When did you start that series, and how long did it take you to get up and running, and what's going on now?
Thank you. Yeah, we started Stranger Comics to protect the character Niobe mainly. I ran a record label for a few years with my family, and after we wound that label down, I was like, I'm not running another company again. I need a break, because the record business can be a little demanding. And So we wanted to, like, I'd created this world, and we had this one project, The Untamed, where Niobe's first introduced. And after shopping it around meeting a few people, some were cool, some were not, some were dreadful, some were more than dreadful, and some were lovely. I realized that I needed to protect the integrity of what Niobe was and who she is, and what she represented, not just from an immediate representation racially or gender, but also the integrity of her spirit. And, in a lot of companies I would felt like were like, oh, this will be a good comic to put out during Black History Month. This will be a good headline, and I was like, I hate that shit.
Right.
With a passion, because then you're suddenly like, oh, you're just in a box, and now you have the assumption that it is this, and you're not gonna make all that bullcrap. So we started Stranger Comics to kind of protect her. But the world of Asunder, I think I was kind of starting to it was blossoming in my brain as a teenager. So 30 some years ago. And Niobe started to come to me at a fairly young age, just in thought and concept of someone that I could kind of pour my hopes. I think I romanticized about this Messiah type character, that I could pour my hopes, my fears, and my ambition, and my wrath and rage onto her winged shoulders. And I think I wanted her to make this fantasy world I was creating a bit of a better place. And as I grew, she kind of grew with me. And then when we started to come out with the comics, it sounds very obnoxious and idealistic and naive, I guess, and a bit, up my own. But I was like, oh, maybe she can make our world a better place, right? So there she is. And that's done by the artist Hyung, and Hyung is one of the lead concept designers on the video game The Last of Us. So if you guys are fans of The Last of Us, Hyung does a lot of our covers. So that really was the goal for Niobe, was to kind of, can we see through her eyes and go on a journey with her to explore Asunder. And it was very important for me to make sure everyone knew she was the face of not just our franchise, but our company. The same way Spider-Man is for Marvel, and Superman and Batman are for DC. And I never liked, no, I didn't dislike, but it's like enough of the best friend is, the best friend we've got, the light-skinned chick is the best friend on the movie, and like this kind of shit. And oh, you've got one too. Okay, shit, I'll put one in my show, and I get it, but shout out to all the folks that work their ass off to get into the position to be seen and their crafts and whatnot. But I have always had a frustration with the powers that be to not, okay, well, where is the star? Why is there not the star? Why, like, if Niobe is our Luke Skywalker, we didn't even realize. So I wrote Niobe Shear's life after The Untamed with Amanda Stenberg, who had kind of become well known, obviously, for playing Rue in the Hunger Games. And actually A. Woods did the beautiful art with Daryl doing layouts. And we didn't realize, we were told it was the first nationally distributed comic book with a Black female author, artist, and hero. And you're like, we can't, 2015, us, like, it's, and I could be wrong, but that's what, all the sources say. Obviously, there's been and the crazy thing, there's been incredible Black female creators that, are Indian, that are just amazing. Lockett Productions and Danny Dixon. There's a lot of folks that come out, and you're like, wait, we were the first nationally distributed through Diamond, and through other distribution channels or whatnot. And I think it really highlights the way how corporations see certain things that, oh, if it makes, oh, this is now making money, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
you know. And so, yeah, that, and I, you know, when you have a family and you try and do the right thing as well, and you're like a salmon swimming upstream and you're trying to pay the bills and it's tough and you're going against what everyone is kind of saying is the thing to do. Like, people don't buy fantasy, and, you know, there aren't enough girl comic readers or black readers or this, that, and the other. I'm doing, yeah, I'm doing all three, you know, and it needs to be done. And I think I think you're wrong, you know, and I believe with all of my spirit that this is meant to be. And then you see other people come along and go, and you get messages like, oh, you inspired me, and now I'm doing this, and I'm now doing that. You see other people come along also and steal your shit, and that, you know, you're like, all right, well, good luck, you know. But I think ultimately it's like rising tide raises, you know, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the collaborators and, you know, and the fans, and they've become friends, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know you certainly inspired me. I think a lot of indie creators probably look up to you a lot in the community because you have a strong presence, you know, at the con. There's not just one. It's you know, across the convention circuit.
Thank you.
And it's certainly something to be proud of, for sure. I'm not sure if folks know, but some of your work is in development with HBO. Which when you guys did that press release, I was super excited. I was like, yes, I love this.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I want it now. Like, hurry up.
Same, you know. Thank you. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was very humbling, you know, and you know, honestly, the coolest thing was to be able to see the you know, friends and family and fans' reaction and how happy folks were for us. You know, we were at one of the conventions, and this family was just crying. They were so happy because I think they'd seen us, you know, they'd seen us at the conventions and see how hard we hustle at the shows. And I tell you, and looking now at where we're at with COVID, I think in some we're not. I'm terrible at balancing, I think. So when we were at conventions, it's go, 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 you know, and now it's, oh, we should have slowed down a bit and got more email lists. We should have done this. We should have done that, you know, because there was just always this frantic, frenetic energy that you want to give. Like, someone's coming to your booth, they spent shitloads of money getting into a convention, parking, food. They've got to get their signatures from Jim Lee and whoever else, and buy their limited edition Funkos or whatever the fuck's going on, you know. And they come to you and they're like, they're going to spend $4 to a few hundred, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself to the folks. You've got to, you know, like, it's I totally believe in it. I think some people think like, oh, that dude's a slick salesman, and yeah, I'm okay at it. But I believe in my shit, and I'm not selling insurance. I'm selling part of who I am are on these pages. So the least I could do is, you know, give the person that's spending money the time and love. So to see that reciprocated when HBO got announced is, yeah, it's really amazing. Really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and when I think it was Baltimore when you caught me in the aisle.
Was I
into the restroom or something from my booth, and you know, I was telling my husband, I said, okay, that one right there, you see that, like, that art, I don't know what it is yet, but whatever it is, that is speaking to me, and I'm gonna go over there. So then you pulled me in, and you know, you talked to me about Niobe, and you're like, okay, but wait, if you like that, then you want to you want to know more about the universe, you got to get this. And I was like, okay, I'm down, this all sounds good to me. But
Well, while you're on, I mean, I can sell you this right now. This is a really hot one right now, and I've got this right now, the signature set. Like, what do you want? I'm here.
see, no, but it's true. Like you have to like bring that fire and passion to people for your project because if you don't believe it, nobody else will.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that's hard for folks because especially like in the comic community, like there tends to be I don't want to make a gross generalization, but there are a lot of introverts who tend to be like more to themselves, right?
Sure, sure.
So being at a convention is like a total flip side, right? You have to like activate your non-existent extrovert sometimes. Like you have
Yeah.
to engage with the people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's I mean, I know what I'm terrible at, like figuring out how to click a link. You know, I'm like the least tech savvy kind of dude. But yeah, I'm lucky with not being an introvert when it comes to selling at conventions. But I understand, appreciate how the difficulty of that because I was an actor for a lot, and so I was used to rejection. If you're used to getting a lot of no's, like you audition a lot, it's like having a job interview every day, and you constantly get a no until you get a yes. You kind of become immune to, at least for me, rejection. I internalize it like, oh, you must be an idiot then, because this is great shit, or oh, you must be having a bad day, and or whatever kind of cheat I do to get me by. But I do know because I've had actors that have come to help me at my booths, and they've struggled too with the fear and the onslaught of also so many people. It's not just a sales thing, it's the environment of you're surrounded by so many people, and that can create anxiety. And I think for us, my only anxiety is when I'm at cons is this is how we make our money, and we have to make X by the end of the convention, as an independent. That I put a lot of pressure on myself and my team at conventions to make sure we go buck wild with getting our sales and try and also have fun with it too. I think too, like we kind of forget that we're making comic books here. We're drawing pictures and putting stories to art, and and folks don't. And if you're indie too, it's like you're not selling Spider-Man. People don't know your shit, so you got to tell them. The best way you can, even if you're not have the best pitch or the best whatever. I think it's like for me, and I might have mentioned this to you before, is I'm quicker to support someone than I am the project.
Mm-hmm.
If someone I'm like, oh, that person really believes in this and they're kind and they have, they're fun or they have humility, but they really believe in what they're creating. And I've got a few coins. I'm going to throw it to that person more than some smarmy dude or some entitled fucker who might have a kind of a better looking presentation or product. It's like because also I think we are all desensitized. We watch Avengers, we see the DC stuff, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, all these various things. They're so social media, apps and this and that and the other. We're desensitized as folks. So as much as we're like, look at this is fire, this is the new shit. A lot of times you're like, okay, but who are you? I'm going to support Moana because she's cool, and it could be she'd be selling me a brick, and I'd buy the brick before I buy some fucking epic looking art from some dickhead, because there must be a meaning to this break, or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I totally get it. Like for me, yeah, I'm the same way. I'm definitely looking for a good project, but
yeah,
I can, if I can appreciate the person and like the message and their vibe and what they're trying to do, Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll throw some dollars their way just because I want to see them be successful. You know, like you
Well,
never know. Like, if especially on Kickstarter, man, it's such an interesting platform because like your success or failure is like on display for everyone, right?
it's traumatic. It's crazy. We do really well in our Kickstarters with Niobe, and I was having a bit of a nervous one because we took so long to deliver our last Kickstarter because of COVID and different printers and different thing. We had so many different types of rewards on the last kick that it was like, oh, we were getting things at different times, but we couldn't like go, oh, I'll send this out now, this, because of shipping costs and that increasing in price. So we're like, oh my god, and then there was a couple of mistakes, like, oh my god, and so scrambled to get hundreds of packages about hundreds, and then we got to get running Christmas. Now we got a 2-week window to promote because otherwise you can't promote unless you've delivered on your last kick. And I'm like, but this is not Niobe, and they might be like, what the fuck is this? And then also I was doing my promotions, and suddenly it was like, no one's responding. Oh, my feed, no one's seeing anything, and like, oh, because the whole you've got to pay for advertising. As soon as you get that thing, they've got you, and they go, oh, it's a link to Kickstarter where you make money. We want you to pay for their ads. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious! All the people I know that I send individual messages to go like, I'm glad you sent this because I never saw this on your feed. So I've had to feel like I've had to do a little bit of hand to hand, door-to-door salesman, just to give awareness to Ruining Christmas, the Kickstarter, on social media. Hey, you might not know this, but this is dropping soon. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Shit. Okay, cool. But how many times can you do that? And also it can feel a little salesy. Like, all right, so what do you want? And that's tough. That's tough. If it was a Niobe project, I know we'd be, it's because you've got a built-in fan base. Like, oh, the next Niobe, yeah, all right, I'm in. Whatever, So a new project, it scared the life out of me for a bit.
Yeah, but you're killing it. I mean, I think you're at like about 31,440 plus backers. I mean, that's amazing. And I know you've been hustling for those, so not minimizing that effort at all.
A little bit. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I'm super thankful to the backers. And I'm super thankful also to, like you said earlier, the indie community, like for supporting, throwing some coins down and throwing some updates to their backers. Because I always try and do it for the folks, and a lot of folks reciprocate, and some don't. And it's always, I'm always like, oh, bet you didn't. Okay, I've done that like 3 times for you. All right, cool. Okay.
Take your note.
Oh wow, I know who's who and who's what and everything. I'm good. I'm all right, and then you don't, I'm always kind of this thing of like, I don't want to be, I'm not a petty person. I don't believe in that shit.
Yeah.
But you do take note, like, some of the guys with the most successful Kickstarters, like shout out to Brian Pulido and Felipe Cagno. They always give me love, always, and I always give them love, and I always want them to crush it and make $1 million. I mean, it's just amazing to see how like amazing they do, and I think that's all you can do. Like when some people are like, oh no, that's going to take away from mine. Like, it's not pie, and and if someone does. And they go, oh, I was going to back yours, but now I'm going to back this instead. That's life, man. Like,
yeah,
but the reciprocation of friendship or community is what gets paid back tenfold. So, have that village vibe, and that's what Kickstarter is. It really is to me.
Yep, it's an amazing community and a super supportive one. I can't say enough. I mean, we've done a couple campaigns on there and have been successful. After our first one, like we really fell flat on our face because we didn't understand the platform.
Right.
Uh, but once you get it, like, I mean, it's amazing because you build your audience, you bring people to the platform. A
Yeah.
lot, a lot of it really is that.
It is. It really, really is. It's just educating folks. It's like you and and the tough thing is you can have the best stuff, and unless people, I mean, it's like tree in the forest. Unless people know about it, you're stuck. And social media is very brutal now. Like when we
Mhm.
came out with I Am Mixed, I gave that book that I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, let me do a bit of research. Oh, there's a lot of these communities that like a mixed. Who knew? Like these mixed communities. So I was like, oh, let me send a book to each person that runs these communities. And they were like, oh my God, I've got something. What? Thank you. And they're usually mums. And they did some posts, and suddenly our sales went through the roof.
Mhm.
And that was more than at times when we had television uh, uh, interviews and whatnot. Like these communities it was amazing. And then I think it was around the time Facebook was like about a year or two later, they're like, fuck that. You're going to pay for arse loads of advertising. We're going to minimize these types of things dramatically. And it really affected independents like us. Suddenly it was like, oh, one post could equate to 10 to 50 sales on Amazon, and now one post equates to maybe one if I'm lucky. And so then there's that, and then okay, well you've got email lists that can go off. Does that hit now people's spam folders or promotion folders so people don't see it? And then they're in competition, so you're literally getting pinched for how to get your amazing product out, to folks. It's not easy. It's really, the beauty of conventions is you're just telling motherfuckers like, "This is my shit," and you're right there. On, that's easy. That's better for me.
Yeah.
Online is harder unless you've got a. I mean, listen, I did posts 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I would get like on Instagram 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 kind of likes. The ones right now, since I've been paying for a couple of ads, 80. It's reduced from like to that. It's like, okay, how am I meant to get this to the peeps? It's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, social media can be super frustrating, and misleading. Like likes don't equal facts and money and all those things.
Yeah. Yes. It's
We could speak about that. We can go down a rabbit hole.
yeah, it's a minefield. It is a minefield. Yes.
Awesome. All right, so let's see. Um, One last question. You've had a lot of success with your IP. What tips do you have for creators who are aspiring to get their creative IP on the big screen
On
or
the big
convention?
screen. Whoa. Okay, I was like, oh, I've got the easy answers, and then you're like, how do you get it on the big screen? I mean, I haven't got anything on the big screen yet. Okay, so okay,
Or
so
maybe get attention.
no, it's a great question. It is. I think here is the best advice I could give a comic creator or a book creator or someone that wants to create IP, whatever that is you don't create it for the screen. If
Mm,
you are jumping to the next step and hurdle, like I'm going to write this comic for the screen, you're in
mhm.
trouble. If
Yeah.
you don't honor the medium that it is, honor your medium first. And if you're doing comics, it's already kind of got the opportunity for a cinematic look and feel because you're choosing your favorite still frames essentially mentally out of your mind to put on paper and tell this in an edited way with that. But if no movie studio to me is going to pick up a comic book unless the comic is an amazing comic for the comic itself, and go, this would make a great TV show or film, because otherwise you're already in the wrong medium. You might as well just go right to writing a script. You might as well not even be in this medium. So I would say the best thing to do is honor what you're creating for it, for your own soul, and then you will also not get let down. You know, because you can have a thought like this as well. And I tell a lot of creators this. Everyone wants to get on TV, and obviously, you know, it's like a lottery ticket. You want to feed your family. You want to, it's the big money. Comics don't make a lot of money. But you can also look at it from an integrity standpoint to say, okay, I'm going to make this comic book, right? And it's mine. I feel really proud of this medium and this finished product that people get and they enjoy, even if it's on a small scale. And I'm going to do that before anyone changes it, anyone makes it their own, whether that's good or bad or whatever. So if you're at a booth or you're online or whatever, and someone comes across your comic book because they've seen a TV show or film or whatever, that's their first introduction to it. And so don't be in such a hurry to make the wrong deal or or look at it the wrong way, because someone might be like, oh yeah, I saw that shit and that shit sucked. I'm not going to check that comic out.
Right.
You know, right. It's, I'm sure there's a lot of comic books that have become television shows or films that the creators aren't super thrilled with the finished product, right? I think that's probably fairly common. So then my one of my good friends, we used to be actors, and he's now a big movie star. But he used to watch my baby when I would do my auditions, and he would say, I'd be like, I would stress out, and he's like, okay, would you write for free just for people to enjoy your writing, kind of thing? The conception, I was like, yeah. And he's like, what the fuck are you worried about? You're writing your craft and you're giving it to people and they're enjoying your thing. He's like, if I don't make it as an actor, I'm going to go back to Texas and just do local high school plays and do local plays and things because I enjoy the craft. And I think that there might seem naive, but as you get older, it's the only thing that really keeps you going, is honoring the craft and doing your best to enjoy it, and not have the full sense of reality that what you're creating is going to become on a screen. Because how many IPs are out there?
Yeah.
How many have them been picked up, and how many of them actually got made? And so enjoy the time creating your comic book.
That's great advice. I totally second that. I see a lot of creators, get distracted by the shiny, right? Like, oh, that would be so cool. But in reality, it's just like, in children's book or regular books, novels, whatever it might be, to get with a big publisher, right? It's like they see so many manuscripts, scripts, but there's only, so many that can be published.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they want something successful because it is about the money for them, right? Like for us, it's about the money. If it's not going to sell, they're not going to get it. They're not going to pick it up. So
yeah, that and there it is. I mean, and then I think too, does breed pressure for things like Kickstarters. Like I'm looking at my Kickstarter and like, oh, I hope it does well numbers wise. The product is fucking, I think it's amazing. But I know a studio will be like, all right, well, what did it do on the Kickstarter? It only made that. I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe not. But when you go to negotiate, all these things play a role in, in each facet of an IP's journey down the river.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I feel like it's a huge accomplishment for an independent creator like yourself and like many others to do these numbers on Kickstarter with minuscule marketing budgets, right? Like people don't think about like just how much money these like they focus on like, oh, Marvel made X millions of these dollars. Okay, but do you know how much they spent on advertising to be able to get that?
And also how much we're desensitized again as a consumer. If you're only used to buying Marvel and DC comic books and watching TV shows and films and so on, they're paying for top tier talent. They have, so if I'm a fan and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what? And I don't have the knowledge or the capacity for knowledge to say, why doesn't this look like this? You know, it's you're competing with someone's dollar and also their mindset and their attention span and their awareness. So take the time to make the dopest shit you can. So folks, it's like when you're watching a movie and you can kind of hear them talk, and then when the music comes on, it's really loud.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you shouldn't notice it. It should just be part of the overall. Yeah, the landscape of just the complexion of the piece. And I think that's the same with if you give someone a dope comic book, you don't want them to be like, oh, it's just great, but I can tell it's indie because of the lettering. I can tell it's indie because of X, Y, or Z. And not to say that an indie look or feel is bad, but your general populace, if they're used to this machine, which is regarded as the top tier of this medium, then you're not doing yourself any favors when it comes to a fan coming to your booth or going online, going like, why is your general consumer, why does this not look how I think my $4 will spend? It's that. So honor your medium, and then Hollywood can tend to find you.
Yes.
If you go chasing Hollywood too, I mean, I've been a bit crazy and wild in my days and done some funny stunts and whatnot. But not, like that's also, I'm okay with that stuff. Not everyone is. If you also go chasing Hollywood, then it's like any relationship. Like, oh, I don't want you now, or I'll get you for this. You can play with my feet. You know what I mean? Like, but we're not going to kiss. It's like any relationship. Don't you chase too much, and they'll let you know when it comes to the time for the deal.
Absolutely.
So let them chase you. Just create your IP. Focus on that. That's what you should do, and they will find you if it's dope.
That's amazing. Sage advice from a veteran creator here and someone who has experience with the Hollywood community. So
I'm a veteran now. Look at me. I'm like gray bearded and whatnot. The veteran. Holy shit. Thanks.
I'm there with you. All righty. Well, once again, guys, please go and check out Ruining Christmas on Kickstarter. It's an amazing comic. I think you'll love it. It is for adults. You don't want your kids to be reading this unless you have a very twisted sense of humor. But definitely check it out. Sebastian and team has worked very hard throughout the holiday season. I believe you are going till Christmas Day. Is that correct?
That's it. Last day is Christmas Day. 25 days of madness. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. So the link is in the ticker bar below, and I'll also put it in the comments on the stream after we're done, so that you guys can definitely go and check it out. So Seb, where can they find you on social media after this is over?
Just go to @StrangerComics and hit the note. I've got to tell everyone now. Hit the notifications button so you don't miss us. But @StrangerComics on all social media, strangercomics.com if you want the goods. So yeah, anything Stranger Comics, you'll find me. You'll find me lurking around.
That's awesome.
And then come by Thursday. I'm doing a live, guys. If you come by Thursday, StrangerCon, the last big blowout sale of the year, StrangerCon. We will be having. Oh shit, it's on the other table, but whatever. I will show you. We will be having a few of our rare gems.
Nice.
We have a few of our rare gems on the live. We have a Fantastic 452 homage. We found a ream in the warehouse. We finally were allowed to get into the warehouse, and after COVID, so we, and I'm down a couple of staff members. So I'm like, oh my goodness, we've got a few of these gems. So come by on the live on Stranger Comics Instagram live 6 p.m. Thursday Pacific.
Okay.
I'm so like herky jerky. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern at Stranger Comics live on Instagram. Come and get the rare stuff, the Virgin variants, all sorts of fun stuff, like all sorts of craziness. Signature series. This one right here, the preview edition that we did. This was a year before Black Panther came out. Why has she got a, this is what you want. All that good stuff. More Kamoa. Look at this, like all sorts of craziness.
Oh,
The
nice.
new Untamed Virgin variant. Look at that magic. Spot colors by Jay Lee. Only 50 of these printed. A whole set of these bad boys. So if you're a collector, Moana, you want to come by on. Oh, look at this collector set that people were going nuts for. You're a video game variant set.
Oh, how cool.
Altered Beast and your Link, your Zelda homages.
That's right.
So we have the Mario Kart one on Ruining Christmas. If you saw that,
I did. That was really cool. I was like, oh, look at these throwbacks. I love it.
And the hip hop variants, like
yes,
currently you're Big Boy and I'm Andre 3000.
Yes. That's right. I don't think I can remove us, but yeah.
No, I thought it was very clever. Like we're both like and that's the Windows. It's great.
Awesome. All righty, guys. Well, thank you again for tuning in to another great episode of the Moana Nui podcast. Be sure to follow us online. I am at The Real Moana, The Real Life Moana on Instagram. And you can also find me on Twitter and Facebook at Moana McAdams. And with that, we will see you guys later. Take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. Happy holidays, guys.